Sesaat lagi Anda akan menyaksikan BRINTalk Show, hanya di BRIN TV.
Good day kawan BRIN. Welcome to BRINTalk Show, where insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions take the center stage. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Jason Adiwimarta Torar, and I'm accompanied by my partner.
Hello everyone, my name is Radin Khairunisa and I'm happy to be here.
And we are honored to be your host in this occasion. And it is we extending a warm greeting to each and every kawan BRIN watching out there. Welcome today. In today's edition of BRINTalk Show, we will be joined by two inspiring guests, Mr. Ardhito Abkodijat, the National Professional Officer for DRR in UNESCO Office Jakarta, and Ms. Gabrielle Ann Biguevara, a participant of the third international workshop on YYP in SETI for DRR.
This talk show is also a part of the third international workshop on youth and young professionals in science, engineering, technology, and innovation for disaster risk resilience, jointly held by UNESCO, BRIN, and UInspire from the 4th to the 8th of December 2023 at the BRIN head office in B.J. Habibie Building, MH Tamrin, Jakarta.
And today, actually, we will talk about the role of YYP, so Youth and Young Professionals, in SETI for DRR from two different perspectives. So what we would like to find out today is that UNESCO's perspective in this area and also the YYPs themselves. So we would like the input from Ms. Gabriela for how do YYPs feel about their roles in disaster risk reduction. But maybe the honor to answer the first question of the day will belong to Mr. Ardhito Abkodijat. So, Mr. Ardhito,
yes.
Before we delve into the first question, how are you today?
Fine, thank you very much. Thank you for having me here. It was very excited. I think the past few days has been very excited and still looking forward for the next 2 days.
Okay. So, just as we discussed before, we are here as a part of the third international workshop on YYP in SETI for DRR. We would like to know actually, what is UNESCO's perspective on this? Like, what does YYPs mean for UNESCO? What are their roles?
Thank you. It's a very good question. I think UNESCO globally, we always pay a very special attention to youth and young professionals. So it is not only in Jakarta, but it's globally. And of course, here, based in Indonesia, and we are in the region of Asia Pacific, we then also focus in youth and young professionals. And UNESCO Office Jakarta, we have, of course, different sectors: education, culture, science, and communication information. So we are focusing on science. So the YYP, or the youth and young professionals, basically we are looking into how actually the youth and young professional can use their science, engineering, technology, innovations to support the disaster risk reduction activities, either in countries, regionally, or internationally. So that is the main focus of UNESCO. Just to give, and we look into a special niche, which is, again, that's the science, engineering, technology, innovation. And when we talk about science, we are not only talking about hard science, but we are also talking science from a wider spectrum, which is including social science, psychology, art, and so forth. So a wide spectrum of multidisciplines.
So it is a collaboration that involves many disciplines of
Indeed.
educational fields and also practical fields. Yeah.
Yes.
So is this like one of the outlets that UNESCO uses for nurturing YYP's role in disaster risk reduction, or are there any other outlets?
There are many outlets. So of course, the regional workshops, such as what we are doing this week, is one of that. We did the first international workshop for YYP in SETI for DRR in 2018. Working also hosted by, at that time, the Indonesian Institute of Sciences, and also already working with the U-Inspire, which is the platform for the youth and young professionals. However, there are many activities that we are engaged with. UNESCO focuses, for example, in disaster risk reduction in UNESCO designated site, either biosphere reserve, geopark, or World Heritage. So we work with youth in terms, for example, conducting disaster risk assessment or disaster risk management in this UNESCO designated site. UNESCO developed a lot of tools and materials for disaster awareness and preparedness. We work with youth because youth will be able to communicate easily with their peers and so forth. So there are a lot of spectrums that we work. And of course, UNESCO's also have different youth program, like Youth in Culture, which we call the Kita Kreasi Muda. There is youth for the Man and Biosphere. There is youth for water. So there are a lot of spectrums of youth where UNESCO work. But in our case, it is more on this SETI for DRR.
So we would like also to explore how you see this event. Like, what are UNESCO's hopes for the YYPs involved in the third international workshop on YYP in SETI for DRR?
That's another very good question. So the workshop, of course, there are specific objectives of the workshop, but in overall, what we are hoping, of course, as you know, the workshop title is Empowering the Powerful. So the main objective is we would like to empower this. What we meant by powerful is, of course, the youth and young professional. So this workshop is basically trying to empower this youth and young professional with the objective also starting to develop their own network. As you know, we have 100 participants from 14 countries. So hopefully they can actually start also to develop their own networks. We mentioned that we have the U-Inspire. So we also hope that there will be an expansion of U-Inspire. At present, there is already 14 U-Inspire, one of which is in Philippines. So we hope that the U-Inspire networks will also expand further within this region.
And so we can also agree, like, the young professionals and youth in this area, they are the central players, like they are the key actors that will take action in the disaster risk reduction area. But actually, how important are they in the disaster risk reduction area?
I think they are very important, and they can play many roles in. So when we look into youth and young professionals, we look into where first our activities is trying to provide a platform for them to voice because they are very important. The second is also we would like to showcase that youth and young professionals actually also have a very big capacities as well as capabilities to support either in policy making, in decision making, in building preparedness, awareness, and so forth. So, and this is what we see. There is a lot of youth or young professional activities in disaster risk reduction, but we are actually trying to focus on a certain niche. If I can give an example, of course, for disaster risk reduction, for example, we can use planting of mangrove to help to reduce either the sea level rise or even in some cases the propagation of tsunamis and so forth. And that's an activities of youth. But the U-Inspire or the youth, the YYP inside the activities focus more on looking into doing research what kind of mangroves that can be planted in that certain area. So we are not about planting the mangroves, but we are more about doing some research, some assessments, some studies to look into which specific plantations that can actually be planted in it. So that is where we actually a little bit different than the other youth and young professional activities, focusing on the science, engineering, technology, innovation.
I see. Maybe another intriguing questions that maybe other kawan Brits out there who are watching are thinking in their head right now. Why SETI? Why Science, Engineering, Technology, and Innovation?
I think many disaster risk reduction as well as many problems in life, you cannot only solve it with one field of science. It has to be a multi-disciplined, multi-sectoral, and youth have actually a more easy way to break the silos between of the fields. People with a background of art can easily work with the people with work of science because they are on the same peers, they are the same youth, they speak the same language, they are very fluid in discussing. So, and this is where actually we think that this is where the powerful things about youth and young professionals, because they will be much more easier to engage with different fields because of this being at the same peers, at the same level.
So actually, it's more like they can collaborate freely with whoever they want, and they can also accomplish much more when they work together in a group, right?
Yes, that's the important thing.
Yeah, and we also saw that in the first 2 days of the event, the focus is on the World Cafe format. So, like, is this what are you trying to achieve in the World Cafe? Like, we are giving them a platform to work together and try to exchange ideas.
Yeah, so World Cafe is actually a kind of a methodology for discussion, and so it is a methodology that we use. By using this World Cafe methodologies, we are actually giving a space for every participants of the youth to be able to talk, to voice, to listen, as well to express their. So it is a methodology that we are using. Another interesting that we did actually yesterday is the Futures Literacy Lab. So, and this is where another activity that we provide the youth, quote unquote, empower the youth to have a kind of a soft skill for them to look the future, bring back to the present on how actually to look into issues, concerns, and problems and so forth. So this is another set skills that we are providing them through this Futures Literacy Lab.
I see. And another point of view that we would like to explore in this occasion is the YYPs themselves, as we've said in the opening. So we would also like to ask Ms. Gabe, actually, who are the YYPs? Why are YYPs like you important in disaster risk reduction? How do you view yourselves as a part of the YYPs involved?
Okay, so YYP stands for Youth, Young Professionals, right? So it involves like the younger ones and the not so younger ones, like the middle ones, like up to 40 years old. So that's the maximum age. And then we are actually glad that we are being tapped for DRR because especially when it was highlighted in the sessions that we have that the youth is actually the future. So we are actually in charge of, we are responsible on how we would be able to move forward. So yeah, it's like a very big responsibility because we're like bridging the gap between the present generation and the future generations to come. So I'm actually excited, and it's nice to have a venue for us to exchange ideas with different, with students, with fellow young professionals like myself, and then explore other opportunities for us. So there are a lot of challenges along the way in like working on DRR. I've personally experienced it, and it's nice to see that even if we have different backgrounds, different cultures, different religion, we have we have a lot of common issues that we need to address, and that is something that we have to really work on together. It just shows that we have to leave no one behind. So yeah.
And that's exactly what we are feeling right now, yes?
Yeah.
Like, we are now in the front seat of this action in the disaster risk reduction area. Before the third workshop that we are actually in right now, have you ever participated in recent events that work with DRR?
Yes, I have also attended a workshop before specifically for urban planners because I'm an urban planner. So I had a workshop with ADB. That was back in 2018. So it's more on the planning side for resilience building. Yeah.
So, like, even feels like urban planning, they can also contribute to quests in the RR, right?
Yes.
Maybe Radit would like to ask some questions?
Yeah, from what I see from the past 2 days of this ongoing 5-day workshop and activity, I've seen a lot of dynamic and thought-provoking conversation, which I think is very fascinating to see so many young and youth professionals to talk about a matter that is really important in this day and age. And I'd like to know, from your perspective, how do you feel and what was the most memorable moment of this past
2 days. Okay, so it's actually the World Cafe. For me, that's the most memorable because I'm actually one of the facilitators. That's why it's the most memorable, because not just because it's my first time, but also because it's actually nice to like facilitate, like not really dictate to the participant what they would answer. Like, I'm really surprised that each group had very unique perspectives. Like, I was expecting like there are gonna be a lot of common things, but surprisingly, in my table, because it was about the inequality in opportunities for YYPs in SETI, particularly education, mentoring, jobs, and we were surprised that wow, each table, each group, because we have to go around, right? Each group has a unique input, which is really interesting. That's why from the rest of the groups, from the rest of the tables, we were the only ones who had to remove the sticky notes because there are so many inputs. Like, they wouldn't fit in the... Yes, it was information overload, but it was an interesting activity because I was able to gather some perspectives on how to be more inclusive. I myself as a mental health advocate, and I was able to see other perspectives, like, oh, there's also another mental health advocate in one group, and there was for the LGBTs, and there are for the IPs, and it was a very interesting dynamic for me.
Oh, so talk me through how it worked. Did every table has a different topic to be discussed, or it has general topic regarding disaster risk reduction and inequalities?
So for the first, because there are two World Cafes, so the first one was the one that I facilitated. It was about the inequalities. So it was focusing more on the present inequalities that are being encountered by the YYPs. And then for the one that is going to happen today, it's moving forward. It's going to talk about the future, like the strategies, the strategic pathways towards achieving resilience through the YYPs. So in one cafe, so there are 3 cafes. So in one cafe there would be 3 tables. So table A, B, and C. So for one round, each group would have to discuss there are a list of questions, and then there are sticky notes wherein they can draw, they can write, but most of them just write their answers. Yeah, and then there is a tarpaulin where you could put the the answers to process all of the inputs from the different participants. And then after 20 minutes, they would have to change another table, so they would go around. So from the table C would go to table A, and from the table A they would go to table B, and from the table B they would go to table C until we're able to have all of the groups go around each table. So yeah, it was interesting. Though there was no coffee because the name is World Cafe, but they were asking where's the coffee, but
there was barista,
but there was no
not serving
coffee.
Participants were very excited to share their thoughts and drink.
No, there was no coffee, but they were just like, oh, where's the coffee? But they actually enjoyed it. Like, it was very stimulating for them and interesting, and it was a good experience overall.
What about the FLL? What do you think about FLL?
Which one?
Futures Literacy Lab.
That one. It's interesting for me, very, very interesting, because I haven't really, especially with what's happening now, because there are wars, and there are a lot of calamities hazards are exacerbated because of climate change. Like, I think a lot of people are starting to get jaded with, is there still gonna be a future for us? But with the Futures Literacy Lab, we were able to like, okay, there's a part there where we have to talk about the desirable futures. We were like, okay, let's think about it. And it was a lot of interesting takes because we have like inputs from economic sector, from the environment sector, and like we had to like go into detail like what sustainability means for us. And there are a lot of interesting things about it. And I also like the part where we have to reframe, the reframing part. Especially with the dramatizations, and there were songs. There were songs presented. It was really fun. We got to learn a lot from the different participants and see how they express themselves creatively, which is something that we don't really see in the office. So it's a good exercise for us to think deeply and express things creatively. So
yeah. So I think one of the things is with all these youth during these 5 days, we try for them to always have fun, because by having fun, you can be more creative, you can be more easily to be networking and so forth. So hopefully the remaining of the days will also be fun for the youth.
It has been a very insightful 2 days here in Jakarta in Tentang BRIN. And actually, we would like to take a break right now to see some public service announcement.
Halo kawan BRIN, sebagai sebuah lembaga pemerintah yang memiliki tujuan untuk meningkatkan kontribusi ilmu pengetahuan dan teknologi terhadap pembangunan nasional dan ekosistem riset dan inovasi di Indonesia, Badan Riset dan Inovasi Nasional atau BRIN memiliki layanan-layanan yang dapat diakses oleh para sivitasnya, masyarakat umum, pelajar, mahasiswa, pejabat fungsional, UMKM, industri, pemerintah daerah, hingga pemerintah pusat. BRIN memiliki sekretaris utama, deputi bidang kebijakan pembangunan, deputi bidang kebijakan riset dan inovasi, deputi bidang sumber daya manusia, ilmu pengetahuan dan teknologi, deputi bidang infrastruktur riset dan inovasi, deputi bidang fasilitasi riset dan inovasi, deputi bidang pemanfaatan riset dan inovasi, deputi bidang riset dan inovasi daerah, dan inspektur utama. Mari kita kenali satu persatu ya kawan BRIN. Deputi bidang kebijakan pembangunan. Deputi ini bertugas melaksanakan penelitian dan pengkajian dalam rangka penyusunan rekomendasi perencanaan pembangunan nasional untuk menghasilkan rumusan kebijakan perencanaan pembangunan nasional. Deputi bidang kebijakan riset dan inovasi. Deputi ini melakukan perumusan kebijakan, pengukuran dan indikator pembangunan dan iptek, serta evaluasi kebijakan riset, teknologi dan inovasi di Indonesia. Deputi Bidang Sumber Daya Manusia, Ilmu Pengetahuan dan Teknologi. Deputi ini memiliki tugas untuk melakukan pengembangan kompetensi dalam bidang riset dan inovasi, melaksanakan pembinaan jabatan fungsional, dan pengembangan profesi bidang riset dan inovasi, serta mengelola talenta riset dan inovasi nasional. Kawan BRIN yang tertarik untuk mengikuti program postdoktoral, visiting researcher, researcher assistant, atau tertarik berkompetisi untuk mendapatkan bantuan uang kuliah dan riset untuk mahasiswa aktif semester akhir melalui program barista, bisa berkunjung ke laman manajementalenta.brin.go.id. Sedangkan kawan BRIN yang ingin ikutan program belajar berbasis riset, kunjungi laman berikut ya, byresearch.brin.go.id. Deputi Bidang Infrastruktur Riset dan Inovasi. Deputi ini memiliki tugas untuk mengelola koleksi ilmiah, armada kapal riset, laboratorium, fasilitas riset, dan kawasan sains dan teknologi, fasilitas ketenaga nukliran, serta menguatkan dan menjalin kemitraan infrastruktur riset dan inovasi. Deputi Bidang Fasilitasi Riset dan Inovasi. Deputi ini melakukan tata kelola perizinan riset dan inovasi dan otoritas ilmiah, melakukan manajemen kekayaan intelektual, melakukan repositori, produksi multimedia dan penerbitan ilmiah, serta memberikan fasilitasi dan pendanaan riset dan inovasi. Wow, kayak gimana? Fasilitasi dan pendanaan riset dan inovasi akan diberikan melalui 7 skema, yaitu fasilitasi hari layar, pengujian produk inovasi kesehatan, ekspedisi dan eksplorasi, pusat kolaborasi riset, perusahaan pemula berbasis riset atau startup, prioritas riset nasional dan COVID-19, serta akuisisi pengetahuan lokal. Kawan BRIN bisa tengok laman ini, pendanaan @risnov.brin.go.id untuk informasi selengkapnya ya. Deputi Bidang Pemanfaatan Riset dan Inovasi. Deputi ini melakukan alih dan sistem audit teknologi, pemanfaatan riset dan inovasi, serta layanan kemitraan riset dan inovasi tidak hanya pada industri, tetapi juga pada kementerian atau lembaga, pemerintah daerah, masyarakat, usaha mikro, kecil dan menengah, perguruan tinggi, dan mitra lainnya dalam beragam bentuk kelembagaan dan organisasi. Deputi Bidang Riset dan Inovasi Daerah. Deputi ini bertugas menyelenggarakan koordinasi, sinkronisasi, dan pengendalian penelitian, pengembangan, pengkajian dan penerapan, serta invensi dan inovasi yang dilaksanakan oleh lembaga riset yang ada di daerah atau BRIDA. Melalui deputi ini, BRIN akan memfasilitasi SDM riset, memberikan akses untuk dapat menggunakan infrastruktur ilmiah seperti laboratorium, juga skema anggaran riset. Selain itu, Sekretariat Utama, Inspektorat Utama, Pusat Data dan Informasi, Pusat Pelayanan Teknologi, serta organisasi-organisasi riset juga turut mendukung sukses dan lancarnya pelayanan-pelayanan yang ada di BRIN. Seluruh layanan BRIN ini bisa diakses melalui e-layanan sains yang dapat kawan BRIN akses melalui elsa.brin.go.id. Stay safe, stay healthy kawan BRIN.
Sesaat lagi Anda akan menyaksikan BRINTalk Show, hanya di BRIN TV.
Hai kawan BRIN, welcome back to BRIN Studio. Still with us in this BRINTalk Show, Jason and Raden. And in the first segment, we have talked about who are the YYPs, why are they important in the field of DRR, and what do we expect the YYPs to do in the field of DRR in the near future. And in this segment, we will also like to delve deeper in the future that we have talked about, like the collaboration research that can be held by the organizers or that can be held by the participants jointly who are participating in this event. So I think the honor to helm this conversation goes to Raden.
Yeah, welcome back. So this is the third year of the Youth and Young Professionals Workshop and Training. And in this year, it's very targeted to youth and young professionals in the field of creating a better future resiliency. And we'd like to know more about the past workshops and activities, maybe from the first year and the second, and are there any different targets and objectives that were wanted to be achieved?
Very good question, and it is very interesting because it is quite a journey that we have been going through. So the first workshop was held in 2018. It is held in Indonesia. It is in a regional workshop. At that time, we are focusing in Asia Pacific, and the objective at that time is to show the youth and young professionals in Asia Pacific about a network that has been established in Indonesia, which is called the U-Inspire. So the objective of the workshop is basically to share lessons learned from Indonesia, and we have quite a number of international participants. After that regional workshops, then the network of U-Inspire becomes expand. There is U-Inspire Pakistan, U-Inspire Nepal, U-Inspire Philippines, and other U-Inspires. I think there are about 8 U-Inspires established after the first workshop in 2018. In 2019, it continues to expand, and this is where we see that because there is a number of U-Inspires, it would be good if they have a kind like of an alliance. So in 2019, we established what we call the U-Inspire Alliance, and the workshop that we held in 2019, it held in Chengdu in China. That is where we start to actually discuss about how we structure the alliance. And now it is the third workshop, and of course, as we discussed, the workshop talk about empowering the powerful. We talk about inequalities to building resilience. But as Gabriela mentioned, that today we will be discussing about the strategic pathway. So the third workshop will focus on the strategic pathway of this YYP in SETI for the RR, specifically for U-Inspire. So you see that there is always the lines that continues from the first, second, and the third. Actually, the third one is a little bit delayed because of COVID, of course. So that's why I think the last one we have in 2019. Now it is 2013, so 2023. So about delayed, but it's just timely that we have it now.
About U-Inspire in the Philippines, is there any programs or a certain theme that in U-Inspire Philippines is trying to strive, and who are the target in U-Inspire Philippines programs?
Okay, so the U-Inspire Philippines is actually highly composed of volunteers. So most of us are academicians. So what we do is we try to engage also the students that we have, and then we also try to advance research, and then innovate and raise more awareness on DRR, especially for the youth. And then we have actually 3 sub-clusters because the Philippines is an archipelago. It's composed of 7,000 plus islands, so it's pretty much like Indonesia. But what we have done, because we have 3 major island clusters in the Philippines. We have Luzon, which is the northern part, Visayas, the middle part of the Philippines, and then Mindanao, which is the southern part. So we have a subcluster of U-Inspire in Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and then we have specifically one for Manila, which is the the center, and then we also have the U-Inspire offshore, because there are members of U-Inspire Philippines who are based outside of the Philippines. So there are ones in Hong Kong, there is one in China, and last year I was in the UK, so I was part of the U-Inspire offshore. So we are trying to engage the youth more on action research. Hopefully, when we get funding, that is the target that we have. Maybe the partners that we have for this activity would be able to help us with mobilizing funds and resources for us to be able to actually implement such programs. So for now, we are more focused on like providing technical assistance on DRR, and then serving as resource persons for several activities in the Philippines. So it's like we are partnering with institutions, since we have very limited resources.
That's really great. So I heard that it's right now, as of now, it's really focusing on disaster risk reduction, and the target is also to younger generations. Is there maybe a topic that would like to be focused on in the future in the next programs of U-Inspire Philippines?
It's really more on resilience building. That is the ways moving forward, and then also establishing more partnerships. Because again, we cannot do with this alone. It needs to be interdisciplinary and intergenerational. So that is something that we wanted to work on.
Okay, maybe how about from your perspective, is there a potential research in the future with other collaborators from BRIN TV, from UNESCO?
Yes, I think one of the modalities of UNESCO's work is, of course, collaboration. So, and we collaborate with, of course, different agencies. And actually, there is a strong collaboration with BRIN. You know, in UNESCO's, in BRIN actually, we have what we call the national contact for UNESCO's programs. So we have the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission, and we have a national contact for this IOC in BRIN, which is actually at present he is the chair of this workshop, Dr. Wahyu Pandu. We have a national contact with related to the man and biosphere, also resides in BRIN. For the Intergovernmental Hydrographic Commission, also reside in BRIN. We have also for the management of social transformation, also resides in BRIN. So UNESCO and BRIN actually have a very strong collaboration. The activities or the programs, it depends on what is the focus. As you know, UNESCO have a biennium system every 2 years. So then this will drive in terms of what collaborations. But I think there is a strong collaboration between UNESCO and BRIN. With U-Inspire, definitely. Philippines is part of UNESCO Office Jakarta, so we hope that we will be able to collaborate further. So far, we have been collaborating, of course, with U-Inspire in Indonesia, as well as the Alliance. So, for example, like this workshop, we have a collaboration with U-Inspire Alliance as a whole.
Very anticipating with the next programs, and hopefully what will be the next activities for the next programs in UNESCO and U-Inspire and the collaboration with BRIN. So as for this workshop, and hopefully there are 4th and 5th in the future workshop and activities similar to this, I would like to ask you, what will be the continuation of this event be?
So, as you know, as Gabriel mentioned, that we will have today we will have the World Cafe to discuss about the strategic plan. Tomorrow we will have a field trip, and then on the last day, on Friday, we will talk about action plan. So this is something that we will be discussing in the action plan, what would be the next steps. With regard to the workshop, I think initially it was envisioned as every 2 years. As I mentioned, due to the COVID, it was delayed. So maybe during the action plan discussion on Friday, we will decide on, for example, whether there will be the 4th workshop, as you mentioned, the 5th workshops, how often it will be, and so on. And I think the point is that also we try to align with all the global setting. We have, of course, the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction. We have the Sustainable Development Goals. So all our activities by YYP or U-Inspire try to align with all of these global platform activities as well. So we'll see on Friday, right?
Yes.
So, like this action plan that you mentioned, does it work like on a global level? Like every participant in this workshop will have the same action plan, or does it need to be carried out regionally or individually?
I think there will be, of course, action plans. There can be in different levels. Of course, it can be regionally or internationally. I think that will be discussed also the action plan at the national level with the different U-Inspires, at the alliance level with UNESCO's, and of course, what we are hoping after the workshop, individually, they will have also their individual action plan. So we'll see on Friday. Hopefully, we'll have something concrete by then.
Okay, so also regarding the action plan, this action plan is built by what we have learned from the workshop, right? Like in the past 5 days, what we have learned from every World Cafe in the future literacy labs, every discussion that we took will take part in shaping our action plan. So maybe I would like to ask Ms. Gabrielle, could you tell us a bit about your action plan, or is there any particular insights that would be the center part of your action plan in the past 2 days maybe?
Yes, definitely. Because the activities that we've had, the World Cafe and the Futures Literacy Lab has been very insightful. I got a lot of information and created more awareness in me that, okay, we need to focus on really working together, collaborating with the different sectors, and translating it into concrete actions, especially in the Philippines, that now that we have, aside from teachers, professors, we also have government officials who are members of the network that we could work on. When we were doing the workshops, I was already thinking about which potential institution to work with. Yeah, so it was already running through my head when we were like, okay, this is an institution that might consider having a partnership with us. So it was a stimulating 2 days for me that we can incorporate into the action plan.
So I've seen the World Cafe and also the Future Literacy Lab with Raden, and we have observed from afar how the discussions took place, and we can also agree like it is a very mind-opening experience, and every insights that can be gained from the World Cafe is very precious, very valuable to all of us, right?
Yes.
So still in the topic of the World Cafe, could you tell us about one of the key points that maybe have struck you, like, oh, this is very interesting, like in the World Cafes that you have been facilitating?
It was interesting that a lot of people have noticed, a lot of the YYPs have noticed that the key to resilience building is actually prioritization. So I was like, yeah, it really is. Even if it involves different sectors, right? But it is a matter of really highlighting that though we cannot save everyone, but we have to really work on leaving no one behind, at least. So considering the most vulnerable sectors and those that even with disabilities, because not all disabilities can be seen, right? Some can be, it can be a mental condition, and if we would be able to really address and help capacitate them for them to be more resilient, we are actually addressing, being more inclusive, because their needs are more specialized compared to us. But if we take them into consideration, we are actually considering a lot more. It's like a cross-cutting addressing of needs. So there.
Yeah, I think it is very interesting because in the World Cafe, the Future Literacy Labs, ideas just keep coming out of us, right? It's like every insight one after another coming right down. We also think like, oh yeah, this institution can work with us. We can accomplish more if we partner with this institution and more. Also, we have been here for 2 days, right? Like in the first 2 days, we are focusing in the discussion, and in the next following days, we will discuss about the aforementioned action plan, and also we will go on a field trip in Jakarta. What are your expectations on the remaining days that we have left?
Interesting. For the next days, I'm actually excited to do the field trip because it's my first time in Jakarta.
Get out from the room.
Yeah, yeah, because we've been inside conference halls and rooms, right? It would be nice to be outside, get some sun, and really apply the things that we have learned, like see it on the ground. Because sometimes when we do trainings, it's like, okay, some theoretical, it's good to be there on the ground to see applied strategies on how we could improve the resilience of people and how we could help the communities to be more resilient and have a resilient future.
Because sometimes discussions are just one part of the whole story, right?
Yes.
We also need to go on site. We also need to experience what people really feel in the outside. Yeah, and are there any insights that you want to gain from the field trip, particularly because we are going to many locations, right? Are there any locations from the selected list that you want to go? Like, you are very interested in this place?
The one with the mangroves. Yeah, because we also have a lot of mangroves in the Philippines, so maybe there are other strategies that may be applicable also in the Philippines, so that you are applying here but we haven't explored yet. So I'm actually interested in that.
Okay, so have you ever been to planting mangrove in the Philippines?
No, that's why.
So you want to experience it firsthand?
Yes.
I think it's gonna be a very fun occasion. We will have fun. What about Mr. Ardito? Do you have a place in the list of the field trip that you particularly look forward to?
Of course, I've also never been to the this particular mangrove that we are going to visit tomorrow, so it will be very exciting. Tomorrow we will also be visiting the Jakarta Disaster Management Agency, so that will be very interesting to know. I know that there are a lot of progress that has been made. So yeah, I think, as Gabriel said, it will be a different types of learning experience that we will have during this one day.
So before we continue on our agendas for the next event in the workshop, we have kawan brains watching out there for us, for our workshop. And is there any closing statements that you would like to say to them, particularly kawan brains who are themselves part of the YYPs, part of the youth and young professionals?
So, of course, for kawan BRIN, especially who those are youth and young professionals, I think they need to continue to do all the good works that they have been doing. I think this workshop is an example of how networking can be established, and then also chances of learning. For those who is not yet a member of the youth platform, either in Indonesia or in Philippines or elsewhere, I think engaging with a youth platform, in our case, for example, the SETI for DRR, actually provide a lot of good opportunities for learning, sharing experience. The activities will not continue. The activities will continue, not will stop with the workshop. So there will be other activities, smaller networks, smaller. So I invite everybody to continue to engage. And as I mentioned, the youth and young professionals are the powerful. So you are the future. So and we should be setting the platform for you for the future.
Wow, pressure.
not to put the burden on you, but it's a fact that you will be the future, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what about Miss Gabrielle? Do you have any message to youth and young professionals out there who are not yet part of this movement?
Okay, actually, since we are the future, as Pahardito said, we want you to join. If you are interested, maybe you have been interested, you are curious about DRR and resilience building, and this is the network, the right place to be. So it's not a complicated process anyway. So just approach one of the, or visit the U-Inspire Alliance pages, like there's a Facebook account and the other social media accounts that they have. I think there's an Instagram account for this one. So maybe connect with the Alliance and then spread the word. Because what I've learned growing up, that your network matters. Your network really matters. Even if you're an introverted person, you just have to like go out, meet people, because you'll never know that actually you would get to not just meet people, but also gain a lot of information, gain a lot of knowledge from them that you can use for the future. So your network matters, you matter. So again, as the future, we have to make a difference, even if it's a bit of a pressure for some of us. But yeah, it's the reality. It's the reality that we have to face, that we have to take into account, that as long as we are alive, we have to do something to make our future better. So that's it.
Okay. And I think we have covered a lot of ground in this talk show. We have discovered the reason behind the event, behind the third workshop of YYPs in SETI for DRR. We have also covered UNESCO's hopes, UNESCO's reasons for jointly holding this event with BRIN and also U-Inspire. We have also uncovered the perspective that UNESCO has on this event and how it will affect the near future. We have also gained very many insights from Ms. Gabrielle about how YYPs position themselves in the field of disaster risk reduction. And I think it has been a very pleasant experience. We have many things to learn from this discussion. And I think the message that we can say in the end is that we are now the youth and young professionals we are now the pilot for this program. We are now the pilot who will going to be discussing, who will be going to take into action our disaster risk reduction action plan. And that is the end of this talk show. We would like to say thank you to Mr. Ardhito Podijat and Ms. Gabrielle Ann
Thank you.
for your time and also for the valuable insights that we have learned today from you two. So, in the end, we would like to say also to kawan BRIN, thank you for watching. Kritis berpikir, kreatif berinovasi. Goodbye.
Bye.